morning, Kuhner country. Okay, my friends, big story. Obviously, the Texas story, I'm going to get to it. It's all tied together. But you've got, look, Democrats now running wild. If you want to know the theme of today's show, bouncing off really of Sandy's excellent job yesterday filling in for me, it's almost like a two-parter. Her show yesterday and then my show today. It really is Democrats gone wild. Here in the People's Republic of Massachusetts. Listen now to this. Big story in the Daily Mail. Now it has gone viral. It has gone absolutely everywhere. There is a single mom, an illegal alien, who came into the United States in 2021 under Joe Biden. Joey. She is from Haiti. She has a child, a 4-year-old boy. So far, you're going to be saying, okay, Jeff. A lot of illegals have come into the United States under Biden, and a lot of illegals, in fact, thousands and thousands of families have poured into Massachusetts under the leadership of Holden Healy. What's the big deal here, Jeff? This illegal, who they're deliberately withholding her last name, and she is insisting that the last name be withheld for fear of being deported. But her first name allegedly is Nadine. Nadine now is complaining. Why is she complaining? Because she has been receiving, for the last 10 months, over $30,000 that was provided to her through a program set up by Maura Healey to help illegal aliens get into apartments, get into pay rent, a housing subsidy program paid for, you guessed it, by you and by me, by the taxpayers. It is called Home Base, literally Home Base, BASE. And this program gives $30,000 taxpayer funded to illegals so they can leave the emergency shelter system because it's full to the breaking point, and they can then be resettled and moved into apartments, condominiums, housing units, whatever. So they get $30,000 to help offset the cost of rent, pay a security deposit, whatever, or even for many of them buy furniture. I'm not kidding. It's $30,000 and they can do whatever they want. Well, this woman, Nadine, has blown through the $30,000 taxpayer funded in only 10 months. In theory, it was supposed to last her 2 years. And now she is complaining, you can't make this up, that the $30,000 was not enough. She wants more money. She's demanding more money. That $30,000 for her just doesn't cut it. And apparently, you may say, well, Jeff, where the hell is this woman living? What is she living in Brookline? You know, where is she living? Wellesley? Where the hell is this woman? What, the Cape? Nantucket? Where? Martha's Vineyard? She got herself a 3-bedroom apartment in Dorchester. We have a big national audience. Dorchester is essentially a very, very close town to Boston. Very diverse, one of the most diverse neighborhoods in all of Massachusetts. She got a 3-bedroom apartment. Now remember, she's got a 4-year-old boy. Apparently, she shacked up with a boyfriend. But the boyfriend took off. And now she says, well, with the boyfriend having taken off, how I can't pay the rent. It's $3,000 a month. And now she says that the rent is just too expensive. And she lost her job in April. Apparently, she was a home health aide. They even set her up with a job. So Maura Healey is taking in illegals and then relocating them into apartments or whatever, housing rental units, including condominiums, giving them $30,000 to buy furniture, to pay to put a deposit, or to help offset the rent. Plus, they set you up with a job. She lost her job for whatever reason. And it's now, what are we, August. She still hasn't found another job. So she says she doesn't have another job. There's no other source of income. Her boyfriend took off. And now she says she can't afford the $3,000 a month rent because she's already spent the $30,000. So now she says either give me more money because $30,000 just doesn't cut it anymore for these illegals, or put her back in the emergency shelter system where you pay everything a la free. But she says she's not going to be homeless. She refuses to be homeless. She's not going to go out on the street, and that Healy owes her, Massachusetts owes her, the taxpayers owe her. Now, first of all, let me just say something right out of the gate. Okay, right out of the gate. Who the hell gets a 3-bedroom apartment if it's just you and your child? I mean, that's just number one. Number two, even you bring in the boyfriend, okay, and you're shacking up with the boyfriend, that's a 2-bedroom apartment. You and the boyfriend and the son in another room. What do you need the 3rd bedroom for? So number one, you're getting a ridiculously larger than what you need, a ridiculously big apartment, which obviously added to the cost. You don't have to live 10 minutes from Boston. You don't. There's many other places she could have picked to live. But on a more fundamental level, what the hell are we doing? By the way, and this is just one example. There are literally thousands and thousands and thousands of these families. So they've been draining us for years in the emergency shelter system. Now we're spending money like it's water, paying right through the nose to relocate and move them and resettle them into apartments, into housing units, and giving them $30,000. And by the way, all they have to do is pay 30% of the rent. Just 30%. The state picks up the rest. Now, let me tell you what I think happened. I think she spent a ton of money on furniture. Because there's a couple pictures. First of all, Nadine has not missed a meal. Let me tell you this. She's not going hungry in Massachusetts. I guarantee you this. But you see the picture of her and her boy from the back. He's got very nice athletic gear. She is living in a very well-furnished apartment. The apartment has hardwood floors. People are commenting on the decor of the apartment. Most people are saying my apartment is nowhere near as nice as this woman's apartment. Now, on a deeper level, what are we doing? Paying for illegal aliens to pay for their entire rent, paying for their food, paying for their electricity, paying for their health care, paying for their SNAP benefits, giving them side cash. This is going to bankrupt us. We just plunked another $1 billion last year. They're plunking another almost $2 billion this year. There's no more money left. And as I said on X last night, when was the last time an American citizen in Massachusetts, a legal resident in Massachusetts, let me ask you, when was the last time the state gave you $30,000 to help you pay your rent or your mortgage? Because I'll tell you this, I've never seen $30,000. They never gave me 30 grand for anything. And families in Massachusetts aren't getting 30,000, but illegals are getting 30,000 and they just blow through it in 10 months. And then their answer is give us more. It's not enough. I'm sorry. This is beyond outrageous. It is beyond insulting. Homeless veterans. We have veterans, disabled veterans, who do not get $30,000 to help them relocate and put them in a rental unit or a housing unit. You have veterans, blind veterans, paraplegic veterans, maimed, wounded veterans who are sleeping out on the streets. And do you know how much they get? $2,500 a year. A year. You got your legs blown off in Iraq. Here's $2,500 for the whole year to help pay for your housing. And blank you. You're blind. An IED blew your face off and you can't see. You're blind. Here's $2,500, not a month, a year. Find yourself an apartment. Good luck. Blank you. But you're an illegal alien. Here's $30,000. And if that doesn't do it for you, we'll give you more and more and more. Thousands of illegal alien families are now being relocated all over Massachusetts, being given $30,000 to pay for their rent and furniture. Look, I'm going to go out and say it. She's very vulnerable. Holden Healy is very, very vulnerable. You put together a half-decent Republican challenger, a serious candidate who's going to run on serious issues and not be afraid to take the fight to Holden Healy. You start exposing this, and I'm telling you, you're going to have a lot of independents, even a lot of conservative, moderate Democrats. They're not going to vote for this garbage anymore. Like, seriously. This is pure arrogance, pure power, pure control. That's what this is all about now. And by the way, just a clarification on what I said. It's even worse than what I said. And I want to thank Larry. He messaged me on Messenger. Larry is an Air Force veteran and a disabled veteran as well. And this is what he wrote to me. Jeff, add this to why I am leaving the state. Larry is going to eventually now move to Arkansas. He says he just can't take it, the crazy politics here. But he said, Jeff, clarification on your statement. That $2,500 annual stipend is only for 100% disabled veterans. Not all disabled veterans. So, I don't know, you got a really bad spine, you got a really bad back, whatever. No, can you function? Can you still get out of bed? Yeah. Blank you. No $2,500 for you. So you have to be 100% disabled. That's what I mean. A paraplegic. Really, and then you get $2,500 again, not a month, a year. A year. This illegal alien, and there's thousands of them, $30,000. $30,000 for rent, deposits, furniture, and furniture. It's loosely defined. It's not just beds. It's sofas, couches, flat screen televisions. You name it. You name it. They're buying it. Now, this is how bad she has mismanaged the program. Okay, it is so bad that even the Boston Globe, yes, you're not, no, you're not dreaming. This actually did happen. The Boston Globe did a big expose on this. And Nadine, that character, showed up in the Boston Globe. The Daily Mail then did a big follow-up on it. But according now to the Boston Globe, listen now to this. The Healy administration, the Healy regime, has now resettled literally thousands of these illegal alien / migrant families into apartments at the expense of $30,000 per family to the taxpayers. However, because they're putting them into these 3-bedroom apartments in Dorchester or in Somerville or in Boston or in Quincy or all these other places, the rents go from about $2,500 to $3,000. And so at least 5,000 families have now been the recipient of this program, this home-based program. And they want to take away pressure from the state's emergency assistance shelter program. Because remember, veterans are sleeping on the streets. American citizens, poor Americans, pregnant women, Single women who are pregnant had no access to housing. And so they couldn't even get an emergency shelter because they were prioritizing the illegals. So to get the illegals out of the emergency assistance shelter system, they then said, okay, we'll give them $30,000, plus we'll set them up with a job, plus, health insurance, a SNAP, food stamps. I mean, they set them up with everything. But the problem now is that a lot of these people either don't want to hold down a job, they're quitting their jobs, they're spending so much of it on furniture, or they say now after 10, 11 months, they've burned through all the money. And now they can't pay the rent. That the $30,000, I swear to you, is not enough money. And so they now say, well, move us back to the emergency shelters that we were in before, or move us back to the hotels and the motels where we were staying before, or give us more money so we can continue to pay $3,000 a month, or the state pays $3,000 a month. Now, I'm just going, but this is the Boston Globe now. The state's home-based program only requires these illegals to fork over, once they have a job, to fork over 30% of their income for rent. That's it. That's it. Only 30%. That's it. And the state will take care of the rest. So, a lot of people are rightly saying, so now they got a problem because now they can't afford to pay the rent. They're saying you want to move us out, take us to a hotel or a motel or an emergency shelter system, move us back out. So all that money was wasted. Or keep us where we are, but give us more. Now, families in Massachusetts are now finding out about this massive boondoggle. You want to talk about a bunch of freeloaders, okay, who are literally milking the system and bleeding us dry. You've got poor families, working class families saying, we can barely afford to pay rent. We can barely afford to put food on the table. We're living literally hand to mouth, check to check. We've never gotten $30,000 on anything from the state government. I'm not even talking about veterans. I'm not even talking about homeless veterans. I'm not even talking about disabled veterans. I'm talking about just ordinary American citizens. So under Healy, they are literally prioritizing illegals over everyone else. And now they've so bungled this program that now either they have to return them to these hotels or motels, or as I said, the emergency shelters, which means all that money has been wasted. Well, I mean, what are they going to do with all the televisions and the furniture and the sofas and the couches and everything else they bought? Or they're going to keep them there and just keep plunking more. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, this is from 781. You can text the Kuhner Man, 70470, 70470. This gentleman says, Jeff, I live in Brockton. The illegals from Ecuador who live near me have been getting all kinds of immigration perks for years, including, I kid you not, forgivable loans to start a business. But they get everything. And they were confused as to why I was not taking advantage of such government largesse. So there you have it. 6-1, I mean, it's rampant. The welfare fraud is absolutely rampant. And there's only so much that we, the taxpayers, can take. And, I think you're going to see a tax rebellion brewing. I think there's no question. And I think Healy now, her arrogance is going to be her undoing. This story, I don't know how you walk this back. It's bad enough you're giving them $30,000. You're loading up illegals with $30,000. to pay for rent and furniture and security deposits, and it goes on and on. But now they're burning through it so fast that they need even more money, or you have to move them back to their hotels and motels. So you're going to be squandering, literally wasting billions of our taxpayer dollars. I mean, this woman is not just corrupt. She's incompetent to boot. And crime, by the way, is going up. More illegals continue to come into Massachusetts from other states. The border is completely secure. But no, they're coming here because the getting is good. And in fact, that's another thing. These illegals openly admit it when you interview them. Why are you here? They go, nobody gives better benefits than Massachusetts. But for legal residents and U.S. citizens, not so much. Anthony in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Anthony. You're going to kick us off, and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff, and this will be the perfect call to start your day. I've worked in the sanctuary city of Lawrence, Massachusetts since 2014. I'm on a very intimate level. If people in the audience don't understand, the resident population of Lawrence is 60% citizens, 40% illegals. So if I see 100 people, 40 of them are illegal. So I go to these people's house to deliver products, and I get to see what's going on because they don't suspect me of being anything other than Anthony. So let me tell you, this woman from Haiti's an island, and on the other side of the island is the Dominican Republic. Okay, in Lawrence, Massachusetts, when they get this money, they ship stuff back home. There's 8 shipping companies to the Dominican Republic. So they collect all that stuff, and then they ship it to their poor family members back at home. This woman, you said she's renting a 3-bedroom apartment. She's not using one for her and one for her little kid. No way. She comes from Haiti where they live in little 12 by 12 little huts. Okay, so she's not only getting the $30,000, but she's getting rent from 2 bedrooms. And you know damn well how high the rent is in Dorchester. So she's renting those bedrooms out. Then on top of that, she's getting food stamps. On top of the food stamps, she's getting free health care. And then on top of that, we have on NGOs, and I've called you about this before, but they give out free food 5 days a week. So they collect the food, and then they put them in the boxes that the furniture comes in, as big as those boxes are, and they ship them back to Santo Domingo or to Haiti on us. And I've been trying to get this story out for years and years, and nobody wants to touch it because it's food. And how dare you go after the poor people and their food? Well, I'm sick of it. When I heard your monologue, I picked up the phone as fast as I could because it's just disgusting what I see. Every day, I work 6 days a week. Massachusetts takes taxes out of my check for no representation at all because I live in New Hampshire, but I have to work in Massachusetts because there's barely any work up here. And I have to just smile and say, thank you so much for taking advantage of my country. And nobody does anything about it. I've had muckraker report come to check it out. I show them what's going on. Jeff, when I say these elderly houses that these people are in, they're as poor can be. And there's shipping container boxes. There's barrels, the blue 55-gallon barrels. If you see them in your community at the stores, the bodegas, they buy these barrels and they fill them up with non-perishable goods and they ship them off. The shipping companies in Lawrence, there's 8 of them. They work 6 days a week. There's no way that these people can afford to buy all these products and ship them off unless they're getting money for free from us.
Anthony, should the taxpayers of Massachusetts, but across America, should we be paying $30,000 per family for illegal aliens to live in a rental apartment, in a condo, and not just live, subsidized by us, but to buy furniture on our dime, to renovate their condos or their apartments on our dime, to pay security deposits on our dime. And on top of all of that, I don't know how this is even legal. They're giving him jobs. They're literally giving him jobs, taking away jobs from Americans. And many of them won't hold down the job or don't want the job or quit the job. Should we be giving them $30,000 for a roof over their head near Boston, paid for by you and me? What say you?
The past 20 years, when we've been arguing with the liberals about this illegal immigrant problem, they always respond with the answer, but they're not receiving those benefits. They're not getting that. You're just lying. You're just against other races. You're a racist. No, they shouldn't be getting one damn dime. They always point back to, well, the immigrants came here in the past and you didn't have a problem with them because they were Italian. No, we didn't have a problem with them because you weren't giving them $30,000.
Amen. Anthony, drop the mic, my friend. Well said. Really well said. 617-266-6868 is the number. CJ in Boston. Thanks for holding, CJ, and welcome.
Thank you very much for taking the call, Jeff. Bravo, Anthony. Look, this is nothing new to the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. It began in the early 80s with former Governor Michael Dukakis, who was reportedly issuing out Social Security numbers to illegal aliens. This really needs to stop. You talk about problems. The problem is they voted Maura Healey in for governor. That's what the problem is. But there should have been a simple solution to this last year when the legislature gave them more money for this program. The solution is very simple. All you need to add into that law is, in order to receive emergency housing in Massachusetts, you need to be a permanent resident of Massachusetts for at least 5 years. That would have stopped all this. But if what you're saying is true and she is housing illegal immigrants and we are paying for it, well, that appears to violate federal housing laws and discrimination in housing. So I have to ask, where is the head of the Justice Department in Boston, Miss Leah Foley, on this issue? Where is she standing on this? You're not only housing illegal aliens, you're taking them in, but you're using taxpayer dollars in order to pay for what they are doing. I mean, this is just a series and a number of programs by the Healey administration.
CJ, we're up against a break. Can you please hang on? Because I'm going to come right back to you. Jeff Kuhner, liberalism's worst nightmare, baby. Okay, this is from Nancy on Messenger. We lost CJ. He dropped for some reason, but his point is a very good one. You're going to keep getting more of this if you keep reelecting Maura Healey. And you keep reelecting Democrats up on Beacon Hill to the state legislature. And by the way, you're going to keep getting more of this in New York and in Chicago and in Illinois and in Los Angeles and San Francisco and California. And this is going to happen in city after city and blue state after blue state. This is what they do. This is how they operate. Why? Just look at this illegal woman that we're talking about now, this Haitian woman with a 4-year-old boy. Look how she is completely dependent upon the Democratic Party. You think she's ever going to vote Republican? Never. You think she'd ever vote for Trump? Never. When I say she's literally dependent, her food, her shelter, her health care, everything depends on the party. So, yeah, that's why they keep pouring them in state after state, city after city. Now you know why this has become a sanctuary state and a sanctuary city. These are their voters. And I want to ask all of you, really, seriously, when has the government ever given you $30,000, forget for housing or rent or to help you pay off a security deposit or furniture, for anything? When has the government ever cut you a $30,000 check? I mean, it's honestly, it's outrageous. So, I've got veterans now who are emailing me like crazy saying, Jeff, this is heartbreaking. You don't know the hoops we have to jump through just to get a $2,500 stipend for housing for the entire year. $2,500. I mean, what does that pay you now? Really, what? Maybe a security deposit? Maybe that's it? 1 month's rent up front? That's it? If you're lucky? They're giving out like it's candy. 30,000 for you, 30,000 for you, 30,000 for you. Oh, you've already burned through the money. Here's another $30,000. This is from Nancy on Messenger. Good morning, Jeff. Well, good morning to you, Nancy. A friend of mine who is a landlord rented an apartment to a woman and her child. And of course, the woman was an illegal. Well, then she moved in 5 other people into the apartment who she then charged $1,000 per person a month. By the time the landlord got them all out, they had destroyed his apartment. And it took him months to get them all out. A lesson learned for him. They're using us. They're scamming us. They're taking advantage of us. And I'm sorry, but we're allowing them to do it. Or to be more accurate, the Democrats are deliberately, willfully allowing them to do it. Cindy in Sharon. Thanks for holding, Cindy, and welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Cindy?
I'm good. I'm just getting ready to start work. I'm 72 years old. I have a house cleaning business that I do on my own, and I'm leaving so that I can pay my taxes to help these jerks. And I just want to let you know, in the People's Republic of Sharon, we had 2 hotels that were loaded with illegals. They had the National Guard there. The places are empty now. They're disgusting, full of cockroaches. They get free rides to the Walmart in Walpole by the Sharon COA, and they are now living in the new apartments across from Costco for $4,500 a month in rent. And I am absolutely disgusted. And the people in this town think it's great. We have a new high school, and it's already overloaded full because of the illegal alien kids. And I'm absolutely disgusted, and I'm just ready to blow up.
Cindy, I know Sharon. It's right near my neck of the woods. You know where I am. I'm on the Wrentham-Foxborough line. So I know Sharon very well. And I know when you say there's a lot of crazy moonbats in Sharon. Ho, 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 ho. Cindy, I've got to ask you. You say that so many of these liberals and moonbats in Sharon think it's a great idea. Why? When you talk to them, why? Why do they think it's so good to put so many illegal aliens on welfare? Why?
Jeff, I have no explanation for it. It boggles my mind. And being Jewish, it really irritates me with these liberal Jews who are so pro-illegals. I can't stand it. And a quick story, my husband and I were going for a walk along Lake Massapog. We've been living in Sharon for 26 years. My husband serves on committees. You have to have a pass to use the beach or bring your boat to place in the water. We were merely walking to use the public Sharon bathroom and to just walk along the sand to get to the road. We were confronted by 2 high school girls working for the community center, screaming at us that we were not allowed to use the bathroom and that we needed to leave the premises immediately. And we are tax-paying citizens, elderly people, my husband's 80, telling us, these 2 twits, that we're not allowed to use a bathroom that I pay taxes for. I am going up to the community center today when I get back from work, and I am speaking to the head of the community center because I am...
Sorry, Cindy, forgive me. Cindy, you know what? I think I know that. I could be... Ashton and I, this was a couple years ago, we went... for whatever, I forget what it was now. They wanted to go and enjoy a pool, or I forget what it was. But we went, I think it's that same community center. And it was not a girl, it was a guy, it was a teenage boy. And we went in. Now, we're not taxpayers of Sharon, I grant that. But we came in, and the guy said, "Do you have a pass?" I said, "No." "Well, you don't have a pass, you can't come in." I'm like, "What?" I go, "I thought this was open to the public." He goes, "No, it isn't." No, you can't come in. Now, the place was pretty much empty at the time. And I said, come on, guy. I said, come on, man, there's nobody in here. He said, no pass, you can't come in. And I'm thinking to myself as I turned around, I said, but if you're an illegal, no problem. Hell, you could live there. They'd house you there. They'd feed you there. You could be in the pool 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But a tax-paying, schmuck like me, again, I don't live in Sharon, so I'm not paying local taxes like you are. But I mean, I pay a lot of taxes in Massachusetts. I pay a ton of state taxes, believe me. And Cindy, no pass, you can't enter. Again, unless you're an illegal. Cindy, I've got to ask you this. Are you starting to feel like a second-class citizen in your own country?
Nobody speaks English. I go in the stores. They have it over us. I can't stand it. And we have a website in Sharon called What's Up Sharon, and my husband posted what happened. I would say, I think he said like about half the people or a little more in Sharon tore his face off, that we had the nerve to try to use the bathrooms and not listen to those girls who were merely trying to do their jobs. And I even said to them right out, I said, if I were an illegal alien, you wouldn't say a word to me. And they just stood there and looked at me. And we're trying to get out of this town. I can't stand it. It just makes me sick. The whole thing makes me sick. I want my country back.
Okay, Cindy, let me ask you this, because this is a brilliant phone call. If you're not Cindy from Sharon, but you're Cindy from, I'm just going to make up, just any place, Ecuador, and now you're here illegally, and you tell them, hey, look, I'm illegal. I just came from Ecuador. I resettled. Maura Healey put me in a hotel in Sharon. I don't have a pass, but I want to use the bathroom. I've never paid taxes in my life. I came into this country illegally. You're paying for my meals. You're paying for my hotel. You're paying for my my health care. You're paying for everything. But I don't have a pass. I want to use that public bathroom. They would say to you, if you're an illegal, go right ahead. Hell, you can stay there all day if you want. But if you're Cindy from Sharon, not Cindy from Ecuador, an American who's been in Sharon forever, who's been paying taxes through the nose, blank you're not getting in there come hell or high water. My question to you, why would those two teenagers favor the illegal over you? And why would those people on the Sharon website that are tearing you and your husband apart, why would those very same liberals say, it's okay, Cindy from Ecuador, she can use the public bathroom without a pass, but Cindy from Sharon, too bad, how dare you? What do you think explains this kind of perverse, self-hating, honestly sick, twisted reasoning? What say you, Cindy?
I don't even know why they could be so ludicrously stupid, but I think they have that stupid mentality that we're supposed to help everybody and the poor, downtrodden people and screw the people that are paying the taxes. That's what you're paying your taxes for. I can't understand their thinking, and you can't talk to them because then, as you know, you're a racist, you're this, you're that, and it's out of control, totally.
Cindy, dynamite call. Please, don't be a stranger. Call again. Dave in Dorchester. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Jeff, how are you?
Good, Dave. How are you, my friend?
Jeff, I work 75 hours a week. Nobody's ever given me $30,000 to pay my rent. Jeff, it's not right. They're being shafted, and it's all because of what Biden did when he let them all in. And at the same time, our taxes are going to keep going up and up and up. Jeff, what are we getting out of it? Nobody's going to give me $30,000 off the top. Why should they get it? They don't want to get a job. They want everything handed to them, but yet we're paying for it. And the Americans are being tossed to the side. These veterans, Jeff, I can't take these veterans being outside on the homeless every corner. Every corner you see veterans just trying to panhandle a couple of dollars just to get a cup of coffee or something, Jeff. And it's sickening. And I do what I can when I see veterans on the corner. You know, if I have it, they get it. And I have no problem with it. But yet you got this so-called governor, this phony governor who's in there. We got a phony mayor who's lowering the city. Jeff, enough's enough. Something needs to be done.
Dave, you're from Dorchester. Her 3-bedroom apartment, that she was paying rent for, $3,000 for a 3-bedroom. Now, what does a single mom with a 4-year-old boy, what the hell is she doing, A, with a 3-bedroom apartment, and B, Dave, is it possible that it costs $3,000? Like, this woman couldn't find a place a little bit cheaper? Remember, this is a woman from Haiti, an illegal alien, who's only been here 4 years. And by the way, I also got a ton of email on this story over the weekend and yesterday saying, Jeff, she's a home health aide and she lost her job in April. And people are like, do you know how there are wanted ads everywhere for home health aides? That if this woman wanted, she could be working 2 jobs a day. In other words, so the rent would be covered, her food would be covered by the state, her health insurance would be covered because they put them on mass health. This woman could be working 2 jobs if she wanted, round the clock, and have all the extra money she needs. Instead, she refuses to work. She gets a 3-bedroom apartment at $3,000 a month. Dave, what the hell is happening in Dorchester, man? $3,000 a month, that's no joke.
Jeff, there's a lot of everything in Dorchester is $3,000 and up. And a lot of the places that I've seen, Jeff, that I pick up people at, ain't even worth the rent they're even paying. Because I literally, Jeff, I've seen places to where I got to pick people up at where they have bars on the windows just to keep the unwanted out. Jeff, I don't know. And let me correct you, Jeff. I don't live in Dorchester, by the way.
I thought you did, because usually when you call in, it's Dave in Dorchester. My bad. Dave, if I'm getting too personal, where do you live, Dave? Since you've been calling the show for so long, I feel almost like we're buddies.
And down in your neck of the woods during the day. So I might pop in on you someday.
Dave, thank you very much for that call, my friend. 617. Yeah, Dave gets around. He's all over the state. 617-266-6868 is the number. Frank in Bedford. Thanks for holding, Frank, and welcome.
Thank you for taking my call. We're at death card number 2. What I'm about to tell you is how the heck can Maura Healey run for office when she's created genocide? She let all the illegals into where? Ubin Mass. What are they doing? Doing drugs, doing this. Where is it in the Constitution that she could even run? I don't understand this. I really, really, really don't. And I'm getting really sick about this. Okay? She's running, and she's destroying everything in sight. Now, you had a Friday conversation about foreigners are running all our, industries, which was great. You just got that out there. Well, what happened that day? You had this thing about jeans. We all forgot about that. Well, at the same time, Market Basket is being attacked, probably by the deep state. Why? Nobody's paying attention. Number one, you better fight for your life, because what I'm about to read you is part of Maura Healey. And I did this in 2015, and I'm at a supply house right now going to go after him. This was done by David Appel at the Boston Globe. Leaks in gas pipes exceed estimates. The amount of methane leaking from the natural gas pipelines facilities and sources in the Boston area is as much as 3 times greater than previous estimates. A loss contributed to the region is high energy costs and potential greenhouse gases, according to the new study by the scientists of Harvard University who promoted natural gas. The leaks would be enough to heat as many as 200,000 homes year-round, valued at $90 million. This study, the first of its kind, bullcrap, is to qualify that the methane emissions of natural gas leaks in urban areas also suggested that the regulators had substantial understanding. The amount of natural methane emissions is 20 times more powerful than the carbon dioxide, meaning small amounts of heat trapped by gas can be significant impact on global warming. We are surprised of the findings. Okay, what does that mean? Maura Healey has, promoted LBGT and they're having a parade. What you don't know, it's 20 times higher. There's enough natural gas leaking in the Boston area, and they know about it, that is killing and causing cancer. So
well, Frank, we don't know that, but I see your point, though. Look, there's a lot of natural gas that's leaking. You want to talk about a waste. It's extremely expensive. It's environmentally very hazardous. You're right. It's not good for your health. But the other thing is, and I don't want to get sidetracked, but you're right. This is leading to soaring energy costs. And remember, this is the same woman, Maura Healey, who openly bragged on tape that she killed not one, but 2 gas pipelines. And now, if you wait for your next electricity bill, your next energy bill, all of you, prices starting August 1st are going to go up again. They're going up again. So your electricity bill is going to go up because she's doubling down on wind and solar, which are an absolute disaster. They're inefficient and they're highly expensive. And she continues her war on fossil fuels and on oil, natural gas pipelines. So not only is she flooding the state with illegals and then giving them $30,000 to get them find an apartment, which is not working out because they're not able to hold down a job, which means they can't pay the rent, which means either give them more money or send them back to the hotels or the motels or send them back to the emergency shelter system. Okay, so the whole thing is now, this is a mess. This is a massive waste of money. But on top of it all, our taxpayer money is being flushed down the toilet, wasted on these freeloaders, and our energy bills keep going up and up. She is going to destroy the middle class in Massachusetts. It's just, it's a matter of time. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Now, I'm telling you, when you get your next energy bill, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, if this story gets a lot of play the way it should, that's how she's mismanaging our state, and that's where so much of the money is going for these illegals, then I'm telling you, she is very, very vulnerable to being beaten in the next election. Now, if the Republicans can get their act together with the mass GOP, with the clowns who run it, that's a whole different story. But Maura Healey now, pride cometh before the fall. And I'm telling you, this woman, I thought Baker was the worst governor we ever had. Holy mackerel. She makes Charlie Baker look like a genius. I've never seen a woman. She is the Massachusetts version of Zoran Mamdani. This woman is going to drive this state right into the ground. She's doing it right in front of our eyes. Frank, thank you very much for that call. John in Ashland. Thanks for holding, John, and welcome.
Hey, good morning, Jeff.
Hi, John.
John, who ran the migrant shelters in Framingham and Marlborough.
Yes,
how are you this morning?
John Featherston. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you, Kuhner. Jeff, it's even worse than what you're laying out this morning. You're doing an excellent job exposing Maura Healey. But, Jeff, you also have to understand that this lady in the Globe article, not only does she get $30,000 to supplement her rent, don't forget, she's still getting $4,000 a month on her EBT card, $500 a month on her WIC card. She gets free internet and cable. She gets free legal advice. She has access to a free loan to start her own business. I have access to none of that. You have access to none of that. The fact that, that Maura Healey is doing this and she comes out and says, we've only spent $4 billion on this. No, you have spent so much stuff that when you add it all up, impacts on the schools, the impacts on the police and fire stations. Maura Healey has already ruined Massachusetts. You can't fix the damage that she's done.
John, can you please hang on? This is a sensational phone call. You're blowing the lid off of Healey. Please, John, hang on. I've got a hard break. I want to come right back to you. This is it. To all the Republicans running now for governor, 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, big story in the Boston Globe. Yes, the Boston Globe. I can't believe I'm saying it. Daily Mail now has also picked up on it in England, in Britain. Other media outlets have as well. So, thousands, literally thousands of illegal aliens, families, migrants as they're called, are now being put on a housing subsidy program. It is called Home Base, in which they are receiving $30,000, taxpayer funded, provided by Governor Maura Healey through this Home Base program, in which they can help supplement the cost of rent, pay for security deposits, literally buy furniture. I'm not kidding. Well, many of them are burning through the money so fast. It's supposed to last 2 years. By 9, 10, 11 months, it's gone. And one woman profiled in this Boston Globe piece, her name is Nadine. They deliberately withheld her last name because she fears she will be deported. Now has gone through the whole $30,000 in 10 months. And now she says, give me more money. It's not enough. Or send me back to the emergency shelter system, or send me back to the hotels and the motels. But apparently 30,000 is not enough. All right, I want to go back to John Featherston, John in Ashland. John, please, can you do me and the audience a big favor? Because you really blew the lid on this with your call, and we had to break just 8 minutes ago. John, you're saying it's worse than what the Globe describes. Not only is this illegal alien mom getting $30,000 taxpayer money to supplement her rent, you said there's $4,000. What does that go to?
On her EBT card, or welfare, welfare, your EBT card
every month. So that's 4,000
every month.
Every month, 4,000. Okay,
right?
Yep.
Then our WIC card, which is Women in Crisis card, which if women with children have them, and a lot of the families have multiple EBT cards and WIC cards because they manipulate the system. So that's either $300 to $500 a month. She gets free Wi-Fi and cable in her apartment, probably, because there's a program running for the migrants for that. There's a program that they get their taxes done for free, and you say, well, they don't work. Why do they get taxes? Well, because they get the child tax credit of $4,000. They get free legal advice for what the asylum lawyers will tell you are mostly bogus asylum claims. So they get free representation on that. They still get free Uber rides to up to New Hampshire for their immigration hearings if they have those. But Jeff, the $30,000 figure is mind blowing, but it's worse because when I was placing families with Home Base, we were paying a $5,000, I'll call it bribe to the landlord. Then it went to $10,000. Now I'm hearing reports that it's as high as $14,000 to a landlord to say, hey, please take this family in. No, they don't have a credit score. No, they're not residents. No, they don't speak English, but we really need you to house them. Here's a $14,000 bonus. And we'll pay up to $50,000 over the 2 years to supplement their rent for you as well. And the Globe says that, they're buying furniture. I can't tell you how many times that I went to local, good people, good places, local places to say, hey, I'm moving this family into a new apartment in Framingham. Can you give me a couch, a bed, and, some dressers and bureaus? We were loading up these migrants' families with full apartments full of furniture. They weren't buying their own furniture. We had a program in the Marble Shelter where every family that moved out got a new bed with new linens, with new pots and pans, and goods for the house, towels and sheets and so forth. So I used to sit with the migrants and say, if you stay in this migrant hotel and manage your money conservatively, you'll walk out of here with $60,000 in your bank account, your rent paid for 2 years, and all of your, health care is paid for by Mass Health as well, too. You're going to have more money than I, who have worked all my life as a middle-class public servant. You're going to be better off than I am. You should be glad that you're here in America. And, then they would tell you the food was terrible and they weren't happy with their room and everything. So nothing's going to make anybody happy. And Healey has destroyed Massachusetts in the process.
John, this is incredible. John, so you're saying even with all of this largesse to these illegals, they're not happy with the money, they're not happy with the room, they're not happy with the food. Like what is it? What do they want? Like what they want to stay in the Sheraton or the Marriott? Like, I mean, seriously, how much more do they want?
When you give something to somebody for free, what is that? It has no value. It has no value. When you earn something and you work hard and you finally win, or you have enough money to finally buy something that you want, you appreciate it because you worked hard and you earned it and you deserved it. When you're given everything for free, you don't appreciate it because it's just free. You expect more free stuff. And Healy does this because you mentioned it in a couple earlier segments. She wanted to do this to keep power because she never in her wildest dreams thought in August of 2025 she would be the governor of Massachusetts. She thought she was going to be the Attorney General of the United States of America under the Joe Biden administration. She purposely did this to destroy Massachusetts and keep the power in Massachusetts.
John, dynamite call. And I just want to make sure, because people are texting in saying, is that possible? So on top of the 30,000 that we're giving these so-called, illegal alien migrant families for rent and furniture and whatever, you're saying we're also giving a quote-unquote incentive or bonus to the landlords of up to $14,000. That's on top of the 30,000 just to take them in, correct?
100% correct.
John, how much is this? We only got 30 seconds left. John, how much is this costing us? How much is this gonna cost us?
It's cost us Massachusetts, Jeff. It's cost us Massachusetts. There's no recovering from this mess. John,
outstanding call. John, please, you don't call often enough, my friend. Don't be a stranger. That's John Featherston, by the way. Dynamite stuff. Follow him on social media. John, thank you again. Just treat me like an illegal. That's all I want. Oh, really? Please treat me like an illegal. I'm begging you. 7:33 on the great WRKO. Jeff Kuhner, Boston's Bulldozer, 617-266-6868. I was just mentioning this to Mike while we were off air. I don't know if it was maybe got caught on a hot mic. I don't know. But I'm like, Mike, I go, think about this. Who the hell gets 2 months rent-free, free health insurance, free food? Hell, it's catered, free Uber, and you still put and a free lawyer, by the way, and $60,000, as John said, if, conservative. I mean, you could save even more, but, if you just watch it, don't go crazy with your spending. $60,000 in the bank. In the bank. As I told Mike, who the hell has $60,000 in the bank? I mean, if you're a working middle-class person. I'm not saying if you're a crooked politician. That's something else. Who the hell has $60,000 in the bank? Especially if you're raising a family, you've got a mortgage, you've got bills. Anyway, so this is from 617, and I know this person very well. So a former teacher, former educator. So I understand. I know this person's not exaggerating or embellishing. And this is what 617 writes. Jeff, just for a sense of scale, the median starting salary for a school teacher in Massachusetts is about $45,000 a year. That's for someone who has earned and paid for a college degree and has done non-paid training as a student teacher. And then that person has to work and pay taxes. And that $45,000 then becomes about $30,000 to take to the grocery store, pay the rent, all the expenses. So just think of the total non-taxable value that these illegals are getting, which according to national statistics, and I know this is true because I've reported on this many times, gets pretty close to $65,000 a year without the burden of working or paying taxes. You see, it's not just the money, which is obscene, that they're getting. But remember, say you work, your salary is $65,000. Okay? They're not working. It's one thing, yeah, you're saying, well, you're both making 65. Yeah, one is working, the other one's not working. That's all the difference in the world. Now, a lot of you are making this point, and this is so true, so true. Even if the illegals don't vote, okay, and you're seeing this now over the whole redistricting fight in Texas, which I'm hoping to get to later. If I don't, I promise I'll get to it tomorrow. But this is from 781. Jeff, let's not forget that even if these illegal aliens don't vote, their very presence, their bodies, count in the census for purposes of congressional seats. So the blue states get more blue, and they dilute the influence of red states. See, that's another reason why they pour all these illegals into their states. Massachusetts, because of all these illegals, has more representation in Congress because the census counts the total population, not citizens. So they include the illegals as well. So that gives them, that gives Mass, say, at least an extra seat or two. California, oh my God, California gets at least 6 to 8 extra congressional seats. That's representation in Congress, just due to illegals alone. New York, ditto. Illinois, ditto. So even if they're not directly voting, it gives more political power to the Democrats. That's why they can't get enough illegal aliens coming into their state, and that's why they'll shell out all the money, all of the money they can possibly shell out. Because the more illegals, the more political power the Democrats get. 617-266-6868. Okay, very quickly, because all of you need to hear this. It's not just that we're being overrun with illegals and all of the so-called free stuff that they're getting, which is, as I thought John very powerfully said, it's destroying Massachusetts, it's destroying America. We are literally going broke because of this. We're going bankrupt. But they're not assimilating. They're not assimilating because they feel entitled. They come here with a sense of entitlement. There's no gratitude. There's no humility. In fact, quite the opposite. They're ungrateful, and they have a deep hatred and resentment, a contempt for this country, because they look at us and they almost laugh at us because we bend over backwards to cater to them. And so what you're now seeing, really for the first time ever in American history, and if no one else is going to ring the alarm, I'm ringing the alarm. Okay, I'm ringing the alarm bell. You're now starting to see for the first time members of Congress, all of them Democrats, who now are openly, publicly, vocally proclaiming their allegiance to foreign countries over their own. Now, listen, this happened over the weekend. At a major summit in Mexico City. And this is, by the way, this summit in Mexico City brought in radical progressives from all over the world. An openly anti-capitalist, anti-American summit. The purpose of the summit was not just to destroy capitalism, but America itself. In fact, the summit, in its opening remarks, referred to capitalism and America as, quote unquote, a virus that must be stomped and eradicated. 3 Democrat members of Congress attended this summit. 1, Elon, some people did something, Omar, who, by the way, has publicly said she puts her allegiance to Somalia over that of the United States. The second one, Rashida impeached the mother effer Tlaib, who has openly said she puts her allegiance to Palestine and the Palestinians over the United States of America. And a third one, This is a new name now. Her name is Congresswoman Delia Ramirez. She is a Democrat, member of Congress from Chicago and some of its suburbs, the surrounding suburban areas. Speaking in Spanish, this is what she said. I'm going to play the cut first, and then I'll give you the translation. Roll cut 17, Mike.
Diciendo unas palabras en español porque yo soy guatemalteca con mucho orgullo, primero que soy americana.
And they're clapping. What she said is in Spanish, I'm a proud Guatemalan before I'm an American. I'm a proud Guatemalan before I'm an American. Her parents immigrated to the United States from Guatemala. She was born in this country. Her parents fled Guatemala, which is a third world hellhole. I'm not demonizing Guatemala. It's a third world, very poor, violent-ridden country. Most people there would leave if they could. It's that bad. She is married, this member of Congress, Congresswoman Ramirez. Her husband, she said this, it's on her website. Her husband is an illegal alien. He's an illegal. She said, I'm the first mixed status member of Congress. In other words, I'm legal, but my husband is illegal. So now you have something else. You're bringing in illegals pouring into our country. You're pushing diversity, equity, inclusion. You're pushing woke ideology and multiculturalism. And now you're openly fomenting hatred for the United States, in which people are openly proclaiming their loyalty, their allegiance to a foreign country. Okay, super quick. So there was Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. Both of them publicly have repeatedly declared their allegiance either to Somalia or to the Palestinians or Palestine before their allegiance to the United States. Listen now again. This is Congresswoman Delia Ramirez. She's from she's an Illinois Democrat. She represents Chicago and some of the suburbs around Chicago at a virulently anti-American summit, anti-capitalist, anti-American in Mexico City over the weekend. And they don't speak English. They're such solidarity with Mexico and the left-wing government now in Mexico that they only speak in Spanish. And so in Spanish, she says, I'm a proud Guatemalan before I'm an American. Roll cut 17, a Mike.
Diciendo unas palabras en español porque yo soy guatemalteca con mucho orgullo, primero que soy americana.
Yep. There you go. And they're all crying, viva la revolución! Her parents immigrated, as I said, from Guatemala to the United States. This woman, born and raised in America. Okay? Now, I'm sorry, but enough is enough. To her, to Ilhan Omar, to Rashida Tlaib, to AOC, I can run down the whole list. America, love it or leave it. Now, if your loyalty is to Guatemala, by the way, I would visit Guatemala before I would say that, but let that go, okay? Maybe take a look at what that country is like, but let that go, okay? If your allegiance is to Guatemala, then you're prouder to be Guatemalan than you are to be American. And your allegiance is to Guatemala over the United States, then go back to Guatemala. Like, I'm sorry, but enough is enough. And I'm telling you, that's what this illegal alien invasion begets. That's what's putting everybody on welfare begets. That's what's creating this sense of dependency and entitlement begets. That's what multiculturalism gives you. That's what balkanization gives you. That's what DEI, critical race theory, gets you. You end up hating this country so much that even though you live 1,000,000 times better here than you would from the country that your parents or grandparents came from, like an idiot, you're extolling their virtues over the United States. Now, her ancestry happens to be Guatemalan, so that's why I'm mentioning Guatemala. I don't care where the country is. You are better off here, safer here, freer here, more prosperous here than you are in any other country in the world, and certainly a hell of a lot better than in Guatemala. Now, has Hakeem Jeffries condemned this? Has Chuck Schumer condemned this? Has Elizabeth Warren condemned this? Has any Democrat condemned this? I'll tell you why. Because they agree with them. You ask most Democrats, they think America sucks. They think almost any country in the world is better than the United States. And that's what this destructive anti-Americanism is now leading to the point now. This has never happened in our country before. This is very dangerous. Where you have, I'm not talking about some blowhard at a local bar or even some loser on a city council or some town council or something. I'm talking about sitting members of Congress who vote on legislation and sit on committees, for God's sake. And they're like, I love Somalia. I'm here to defend and promote Somalia. Some people did something. Or the other one, jihad, 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 jihad. That one, Rashida Tlaib, who smiles ear to ear when she sees the flag of Hamas. And now this one from this joke out of Chicago. It's like a cancer. And by the way, ask that illegal Nadine. Ask the one that's getting $30,000 and now spent all the money, blew all the money. And the EBT that she's been getting, and the food stamps, and the free health insurance, and everything we've given her. 4 years from that hellhole, Haiti. Okay, one of the poorest countries in the world. Where a chunk of the population is literally starving to death. They're freaking starving, man. Haiti or America? Haiti. I love Haiti. I'm proud to be from Haiti. She would say, I'm prouder to be Haitian than I am to be American. I mean, she's not an American. She's an illegal. But what I'm saying is, you think there's any gratitude? If I came from a godforsaken third world hellhole where everybody around me is starving and miserable and oppressed and under the thumb of a brutal dictatorship and warlords that are rampaging across the country like it's Mad Max, the movie, like it's some dystopian Hollywood movie, I'd be like, mwah, 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 mwah. All I'd be doing, kissing the ground. That's it. That's all I'd be saying. I love America. I love America. Thank you. I love America. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll take 2 jobs. I'll take 3 jobs. I'll take any job you give me. And thank you. And you know what I decorate my apartment with? I'm serious. 1 massive American flag. I'm telling you. That's it. And I tell my boy, you put your hand over your heart. This is the greatest country in the world. And please let them give me citizenship. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. That's what I would do. Instead, it's not enough. $30,000 is not enough. It's not enough welfare, not enough food, not enough rent. It's just not enough. You ingrate, you. 617-266-6868. Out. Out. Every single one of these illegals, every single one, deport their asses back to where they came from. And maybe once they see what life is, I guess they've forgotten how bad life is in their home countries. Maybe when we ship them back, they'll go, oh, geez. Oh, I had it so good in America. Well, it's too late now. Linda in Medford. Thanks for holding, Linda, and welcome.
Oh, I'm kind of referring back to an earlier caller with the bathhouses. I bet you dollars to donuts it's become a drug spot or something like that, and that's why they were forced not to use it. Too bad they didn't call 911 and step away from the bathhouse.
Oh, you mean the public bathroom in Sharon?
Yes. I bet you they had drugs in there.
Nothing would surprise me now, Linda. The only thing I can just say is this. I think I've been to that community center. I don't want to say I have, but I think I have. And they do require a pass to get in, to park in the parking lot. And they're acting like I don't know what. It's like really like you're entering the White House. I mean, you can't come in unless you have this pass. And I'm like, you got to be. And it's empty. It's practically empty. So, no, to me, Linda, what's upsetting is they will build walls and block people out who are taxpayers on public beaches or on public bathrooms or on public community centers or public playgrounds. But if you're an illegal alien, you can do whatever you want. You can go anywhere. Literally. You can even break the law over and over and over and over again, and nothing happens. In fact, you're glorified. They honestly, they keep telling us these are dreamers, that they're superior to us. Literally, they're superior to us. Like, you don't have dreams, I don't have dreams. They have dreams. And that what makes us great are the illegals. That's literally what they're telling us. And that's why, like, if we're not shelling out $30,000 for them to stay in an apartment that they burn through in 10 months and then give them free food and free welfare, $4,000, and, and free health care and free schooling, well, then you're just a selfish, evil person because you don't realize that these people are better than we are. I mean, that's how sick and twisted these Democrats have become. Linda, if you don't mind me asking, and if I'm getting too personal, please tell me. Did the state of Massachusetts or the Commonwealth of Massachusetts or any state government, did they ever give you $30,000 to help you with your mortgage or your rent? I'm just curious.
Nope.
Really?
I only wish.
How about $4,000? Whoa, but how about $4,000 a month? Like EBT, like. Here's $4,000 and Linda, spend it, on what you need. No, they never, $4,000 a month. They never, $48,000 a year. You've never gotten that?
That sounds great. That's more than my Social Security check.
And by the way, notice they don't get taxed. Your Social Security, well, now not under Trump, but up until the big, beautiful bill, your Social Security, they'd even tax that. But notice, they don't tax the EBT cards. Have you noticed? That they don't tax, huh? That $30,000 stipend, that they don't tax for the illegals. That for the illegals, Linda. Notice, that's all tax-free. But even when you get your Social Security, blank you, they still take a cut out of your check. Am I wrong?
Nope. You're saying it like it is.
It's just like, you can't make this stuff up. Linda, thank you very much for that call. Look, honestly, treat me like an illegal. Please, just, no. Don't treat me like a U.S. citizen. No, please don't. No. Just treat me like an illegal. That's all I ask. First class, all the way, baby. Dave in Norwell. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing okay. Look,
Dave, I just want you to know, just to set the record straight, I put my allegiance to Guatemala ahead of the United States. All right, Dave? I just want you to know that I am prouder of Guatemala than I am of the United States. Dave, I just want you to know that.
Getting extra money from the governor. One thing I did want to, and I enjoyed John Featherston most of the points I wanted to make, but I can tell you that we cannot get very good data in terms of what the immigration is costing us in terms of mass health. And I deal with this quite frequently. And in my district down here, I hear from nurses who work at South Shore hospitals and all through Boston, come home in the South Shore, and they say, we're getting killed in terms of people coming up Remember, many of these people coming primarily from the Caribbean have never been to a doctor. So you've got dental, you have potential asthma and diabetes and eyeglasses and everything. It costs $40,000 or so without complications to have a child now. All right, and one thing these folks do is can have children. Yes, ask Mayor O'Connell, and I served with her while she was a legislator. So I can tell you that, we are not getting a good handle on what the costs are, not only through Mass Health, but also the costs specific to hospitals that never get reimbursed because they have to eat what isn't paid.
I agree. Dave, I think it's a really good point. Look, it's straining our hospitals. It's straining our social welfare services, really to the breaking point. It's straining our schools. And it's really now straining the taxpayers. And so they're taking money out of the general fund to pay for all of this. There's less money for police. We know it. There's less money for fire, less money for teachers, less money for roads, less money for nurses, less money for health care. There's no question. Look, I can tell you this right now. And again, Dave, you may disagree with me, which is fine. Look, I've been in Massachusetts now, 13 years. Okay? 13 years. I started the show in 2012. So 13 years. I have seen the decline I felt it in 13 years. I felt it. The roads are getting worse. They are. The quality of social services are getting worse. There's no question. The crime rate is up. Look, I'll just give you an example. In 2012, look, I wasn't a big fan of Deval Patrick, and I was a big critic of Charlie Baker. You never had, look, in 2012, there was no mass incasse. Like, you could say whatever you want, but when you walked in the downtown Boston area, you didn't see homeless encampments. You didn't see people literally shooting up, injecting themselves with heroin. You didn't see people. I'm not saying there weren't homeless. I'm not saying there weren't addicts. Yes, but not like this, where people are openly urinating and defecating on the streets. Like, I'm just calling it as it is. I mean, I'm not saying it was great. It wasn't. But man, oh man, has it gotten worse. And yes, there was illegal immigration in 2012. You could see it, but not at this level. And, and say what, yes, how do I say this? Yeah, they put him in public housing and they put him on WIC, but $30,000 to put him in an apartment with free prepaid Visa cards and then $4,000 a month EBT cards? Like, it's out of control. And I'm telling you, police officers are telling me, Jeff, they're cutting back. There's no money. They're cutting back. Public safety. Police officers are telling me, Jeff, they're fudging the crime rate. The homicides are up. Murders are up. Burglaries are up. Crime is up. The media is trying to cover it up. Boston, according to Michelle Wu, she says we're the safest city in America. Bull, you know what? BS. Bravo Sierra. Boston is not a safe city. In 2012, it was a much safer city. It just was. Even someone like Mini-Me, as I used to call him, Deval Patrick, a mini Obama, he had a sense of, well, you need to have businesses thrive in Massachusetts. Someone's got to pay the taxes. So, give them a good business climate. The streets should be safe. Keep regulations, as minimal as possible. Don't whack them over the head with tax increases. Now, with these woke idiots, Michelle Wu and Maura Healey, they're determined to drive business out of the state. They're determined to drive the middle class and taxpayers out of the state. It's like a war now on taxpayers. That's what's changed. Dave, am I wrong?
No, you're right. And the bottom line is what you're also driving out of the state, or driving into early retirement, or a lot of people who can't get the raises they particularly medical, and again, particularly I think registered nurses who are not seeing the raises they deserve who are working shorthanded. You mentioned that. Who certainly the police are, but the nurses are working shorthanded because a lot of people have left because it's more lucrative even to go into a neighboring state in Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and work there because they're less likely to get the type of the type of pressure you have because nobody wants to work here, and the hospitals in the other states just aren't under the strain that, say, particularly in the Boston metro area, that we are seeing because, again, they are not either being reimbursed for the total cost of what these folks are charging, or in many cases, they're not being reimbursed at all. I can give you an example in Brockton, in my area. They get a tummy ache. They call the fire department. They have to take them to the emergency room. Okay, those people go in front of everyone who's been waiting there, and not only is it cost to the fire department, of course, but it's a cost to the hospital. All not reimbursed.
Dave, I got to ask you, you're completely right. Not, as I like to say, not 100, 1,000% correct. You mentioned an illegal alien gets a tummy ache, whatever. They got a stomach virus, whatever. And so they call the fire department or whatever, the ambulance, whatever. And they get picked up and they're taken to the hospital. And you're right. They're put ahead of everybody else. Why? They don't just drive them to the hospital and say, wait in line like everybody else. You're right. They put them to the front of the line. Why? What's your theory on that?
Well, that's protocol, Jeff. I mean, typically someone coming in an ambulance will come in and they get looked at right away. But I can tell you, and it's a cliche, but it's true. I don't want to say the name of the hospital, but it's right down near where I live. And you'll see, these typically the widows of these veterans are just older widows sitting there waiting their turn. And there'll be dozens and dozens of people who are recent arrivals, let's call them. And they're just sitting there having a great time waiting for whatever. And they're in front of them, and you'll have people now waiting for hours. So I know you, because I heard you make reference to it, the gentleman from Los Angeles who on the other side was referencing the fact that nobody was in the highway and nobody was in the waiting room. Well, we see the reverse here. Everyone's in the highway, all 300,000 plus of them. I think it's significantly more, but 300,000 plus of them in the state, and of course, straining our medical system. And that's the only point I want to make.
You're dead on. You're dead on. Dave, thank you very much for that call. No, they're bankrupting. Look, I thought John Featherston hit the nail on the head. Healy has destroyed Massachusetts, period. She's bankrupting Massachusetts, and she's bankrupting the healthcare system. On top of the welfare system, the healthcare system, the whole state is being bankrupted fundamentally. That's what she's doing. And what they're doing in Massachusetts is what they did under Biden across the entire country. And they're still doing it in the blue states. And just to add one key point, COVID. Never forget what they did during COVID. How many excellent nurses, top-notch nurses, who were heroes at the height of the pandemic when there was no so-called vaccine, and I put vaccine in air quotes, okay, the jab, there was no jab. They worked on the COVID wards and saved I don't know how many lives and risked getting COVID themselves. But then when they refused to take the jab, so it was fine at the height of the pandemic, but then suddenly they were forced to take the jab. And when many of them said, no, my body, my choice, they got fired. They got treated like dogs. Al, you wouldn't even treat a dog the way they treated these poor nurses and others. I'm not saying it was just nurses, but that also led to an acute nursing shortage. So that's another big problem in this state. 617-266-6868. Okay, let me do a quick reset. I want to take all of your calls. Big expose, yes, in the Boston Globe. By the way, the expose was done by the Globe to show that they need more money. 617-266-6868 is the number. This is like on the small end of the scale. Okay, as this Boston Globe piece shows. So, illegal aliens under Maura Healey are getting $30,000 to help with rent. They can buy furniture, make a deposit, whatever, security deposit. Plus, as John Featherston pointed out, they get $4,000 a month EBT. $4,000. Plus, they get about $500 per person food stamps, WIC. So basically, and so their food is free. Oh, they're all on Mass Health. So they get free health insurance, free food, $4,000 a month spending money. That's what that is. And $30,000 to help with rent. And if they want, they're given jobs. Some don't like them. Some don't keep them. Some whatever, don't want to do them. But they also get given jobs. They're also given jobs. Now, let all that go. No, I'm serious. Let all of that go. Okay? They also get free legal advice. Let that go. They get free Wi-Fi and cable. I have DirecTV at my house. Okay? I don't have cable. I have DirecTV. But whatever. Satellite television. Now, let me ask all of you, in all seriousness, leave aside everything else. Has the government ever paid for you just your monthly cable or satellite TV bill or your Wi-Fi, your internet bill? That's it. No, that's it. That's it. Have they even ever done that for you? They've never done it for me. Now, that alone, it's a small thing, yes. But, hey, 50, 60, 70 bucks a month, whatever your cable package is, or that adds up. That's $600, $700, $800 a year. That's not peanuts, my friends. That's how much we're being systematically discriminated against as taxpayers and American citizens and legal residents. Never mind everything else. We are literally being treated as second-class citizens in our own country. Where's Pam Bondi? Where's the Department of Justice? That's what I want to know. Denise in Beverly. Thanks for holding, Denise, and welcome.
Jeff, how have you been?
Very good. How are you, Denise?
I'm good. I'm good. You're funny. You should be a comedian, too. I laugh at you so much. It's so funny. You are so funny. But I just want to say something. Like, I'll be 70 next month, right? And I am on Section 8 housing because I work 30 hours a week still. I'm off for the summers. I go back to the school, driving kids to school and the bus and everything. But, I still have a wicked hard time. My rent takes up my whole Social Security check, which I don't get much at all. So I have to work till I drop dead. And these people, you go in the stores and everything. There's all the aisles are empty. The cashiers, there's nobody working, and I can't figure it out for the life of me. Where is everybody? How come nobody's working? And you're right. All these people are getting free stuff, like. The Healy's taking care of all the shelter people because I picked up kids at the Motel 6, and they closed it in June. And the 3 kids from Haiti, I don't know where they went. I know one of the girls said that she never came back to school, so I don't know where they went. But the other 2 are from here, and they're at a shelter in Lynn somewhere near the Rotary. They were in me there, but I just I still have them. I hope I get them back. They're good kids and everything, but I'm sure that Healy's paying for their shelters, and I know that all those people are getting paid. And I just want to say the electric bill, it went up 8%. My car insurance went up $23. Everything went up. So I called housing the other day because I want to move out of Mass. I'm trying to. My attic son just bought. Remember I told you about my son? I don't know if you remember.
Yes, I remember your son. Yes, he's been battling addiction for a while.
Yeah, he just got off parole. They said he established. They never saw anybody establish what he has, and they took him off parole. And him and his son's mother just bought a house in Nashville, New Hampshire. They passed on the papers yesterday, so I'm very proud of him. And so I'm trying to move. So I called housing the other day. And I asked them what the rents are now. Like, what am I allowed to? Because I'm by myself, Jeff. I have a hard time. You know what I mean? I raised both my kids by myself. I never had any help from anybody, no child support, nothing. So I can't pay these $3,000 rent apartments. I mean, they're ridiculous. So I called housing yesterday, the other day, and they said that what used to be $2,700 with all utilities, you're allowed for one bedroom. It dropped down to $2,514, and I said, "Why is that?" She goes, "Well, Trump." I said, "Trump?" I said, "Why are you blaming this on Trump?" I said, "This is because of all the illegals in this country. They're getting all the free stuff, so we suffer." And she goes, "Well, no, sir." She goes, "Don't be surprised if we lose it all together." And I won't, saying I won't have it anymore. And I couldn't believe it. And I said, that's crazy. But, yeah.
No, but Denise, look, I'm so happy you called. I'll tell you why. Because what you're describing now, your situation, is exactly why we have a social safety net. You're a fellow American. And by the grace of God, there go I. Okay, I'm lucky to have a wife. We have 2 children. You didn't. You're a single mom. You raised 2 kids on your own. You got no child support, nothing. You broke your back. You do everything you can. You get a job, you raise 2 kids, and you're barely making ends meet. The government should be there to help you, to give you a housing subsidy, to help you with your food, to help you with your electricity, to help you with your bills, to give you a hand up. Instead, everything is going towards the illegals. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, Kuhner Country, I would love to get your take on this. I really would. I think it's a great poll question. Sandy came up with it. And just to really, look, we're against everything. I mean, I'm against, free healthcare, free education, free housing, EBT, obviously everything. I don't think they should get any welfare benefits. I don't think they should be in our country at all. Okay, I think it's wrong, it's immoral, it's un-American, it's anti-American, it's an abuse of our country, our sovereignty, and the taxpayers. But they are here. And so the question I have for all of you, it is the Kuhner Country poll question of the day, sponsored by Mario's. Mario's Quality Roofing, Siding, and Windows. What is the most egregiously unfair benefit given to illegal aliens? And these are the 3 big ones. Free housing, free healthcare, or free education. I know, if we could have a D, Jeff, all of the above. I agree with you. But I want to ask all of you, if you were to just pick one and say, of the 3, which is the one that's really to you the most unfair, the most abusive, the most, insulting to you? Is it A, free housing, B, free healthcare, C, free education? Let me ask you again. What is the most egregiously unfair benefit, taxpayer-funded benefit, given to illegal aliens? Is it A, free housing, B, free healthcare, C, free education? You can vote on our webpage, wrko.com/Kuhner, wrko.com/Kuhner, KUH, N as in National ER. You can also vote via X. Again, last night I was very active on X. In fact, on this very story, I was pushing it hard. You can vote there. My handle on X is at the Kuhner Report, all one word, KUH, N as in National ER, at the Kuhner Report, 617-266-6868. Dave in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Dave, and welcome.
Hey, Jeff.
Hi, Dave.
But I'd have to say that it's the free healthcare that aggravates me the most on that question there.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Dave. To me, it's between the free housing and the free healthcare. That all bothers me. Don't get me wrong. But if I had to vote... I don't know. I see. I was going to say healthcare, then I'm like, that 30,000, man, that 30,000 to put them up in an apartment, that's hard for me to swallow. I don't know. That's a tough poll question. But you'd go with B. You'd go with free healthcare. I hear you. Dave, what do you make of the whole thing? And that Healy is going to continue. She wants to continue to give them money. This is going to be more upon more upon more. 30,000 is not enough. They're going to give them 40,000, 50,000, 60,000. Are we now watching Healy commit political suicide, Dave?
Well, I certainly hope so, because she's already destroyed Mass. I mean, I moved to New Hampshire 10 years ago, because of just the way Mass was getting. But, I mean, when I called, it's been a while, I was on hold, you were talking about, like, the veterans getting, like the disability and stuff like that. Well, I'm a vet. I did 8 years. I did 5 active, 3 in the Guard. Okay, long story short, I had private insurance, from working and everything. I ended up getting sepsis. I had to go to the hospital. I'm a truck driver. I almost died. It caused my blood pressure to skyrocket. I lost my medical card, so I lost my job. Okay, and then I didn't have any insurance anymore. But the time I spent in the hospital, I got a bill for 4 nights, 5 days in the hospital in the ICU after my private insurance for over $60,000.
Oh my God!
Okay, last year I had to live, Jeff, on credit cards. And because of a divorce I had a few years ago, I had just started rebuilding my 401k and everything. I pissed through my whole 401k. It wasn't a whole lot, but it was like $25,000 that after the penalties and everything else. And I still went negative for over a year. Okay. And, now here I am. I'm 54 years old. I have nothing saved. I am a veteran, like I said. Oh, I went to VA finally over a year ago. I was a paratrooper. I have it on my records that my knee was blown out. I couldn't jump anymore. I have disc problems and everything. I was denied everything on disability except a partial hearing loss with a 10% disability. I get $175 a month. I pay about 17% of my pay goes to federal taxes every year. And then they tell me that I still owe more on top of that. So the money I do get, they take back from me again. I have been waiting now for over a year just to get my first appointment with a primary care doctor at VA. I have not seen a single doctor yet. They have sent me to other places for like diagnostics, but then they said that I haven't got the diagnosis, even though they sent me to places that apparently are affiliated with the VA or whatever. So that's how veterans are treated. I'm 54. I'm a truck driver, so the guys out there will know what I'm talking about when I say I lost my medical card. I live in a mobile home. Thank God I owned it outright. But I mean, I'm what I call the short-term plan, which is work till dead, because there is no way now that I can rebuild my credit, rebuild enough money and everything to ever retire. And these people get everything for free. I have never been handed a freaking penny. Like I said, I didn't even ask VA for any help until I was 53 years old. Almost 30 years after I got out of the military. Well, about 20 something, but you know what I mean. And I've never gotten a penny. Oh, and then when I lost my job, they said they considered it that I was fired because of my medical card, so I couldn't even collect unemployment. And if anybody knows about New Hampshire unemployment, it's not worth it in anyways, because it doesn't pay anything. So, like I said, that's how American citizens and how veterans are treated, Jeff. So that's why I say healthcare is because I've seen what it did to me. Because I've been getting destroyed by healthcare because of bills and everything else, and I still don't get any help at all. But God knows they want their money. You know what I mean? And so I guess that's all I really got to say.
It's disgusting. Dave, I tell you, you can't see me, obviously, because I'm behind the microphone, but my blood is boiling. I'm telling you, my blood is boiling. You want to talk about high blood pressure? My blood pressure is going through the roof. Dave, why can't they put you on Medicaid?
I don't know. I don't know, Jeff. I actually never tried, and now because I'm back to work, it took a long time because of the sepsis. I was like really in bad shape.
I know.
For a while there.
Oh my God! I don't wish that on my worst enemy. I don't know how you did it.
Yeah, I had a tooth pulled, and next thing you know, 36 hours later, if it wasn't for my neighbor's wife, God bless her, she understood what was happening and rushed me to the hospital. And they said if I had another 12 hours, I would have been gone. So, You know,
Dave,
my head looked
Dave,
like a
I'm sorry.
balloon.
I'm not trying to pour more gasoline on the fire. Really, I'm just being honest with you. They put illegals on mass health, Medicaid, essentially. So if they can put illegals on mass health, and then, you know, if they go to the hospital, it's all covered by the state. So why can't they put, I know you have the VA system, I get it, but still, why can't they put someone like you on Medicaid? So at a minimum, you get the health insurance you've earned, you deserve, you put your life on the line for our country, and you're not saddled with a $60,000 debt. Like, they can't do that for you?
I don't know, Jeff, because I can't get mass health because I'm in New Hampshire. But Medicaid, see, now that I am back working again, and I'm a truck driver. I mean, we're not rich, but some of us we do okay, But I mean, like I said, I mean, it's just I still live week to week and everything. I don't know if I would qualify for Medicaid, and to be honest with you, that is something I have not tried. So I do not want to disparage that because I have not tried that.
Oh, please try it, Dave. Honestly, try it. Please, have you contacted the DAV?
I have not. No,
please call the DAV. Dave, call the DAV. Call the one in New Hampshire. Sorry, forgive me. Call the one in Massachusetts. Mention my name. Just mention my name. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, just to quickly clarify regarding the heart-wrenching call in the last segment to me, you're a hero, and I want to thank you for your service. You know how much I love all you vets. Disabled veteran, this to me is disgraceful, that is getting no health insurance whatsoever and now has a $60,000 bill from an operation and 5 days and 4 nights. And the poor guy now is struggling just to pay off his hospital bill. Call, I know you live in New Hampshire, but call the Massachusetts DAV, mention my name, tell them I asked you to call them, and then they will connect you with the right people in New Hampshire, the DAV in New Hampshire. And they should be able to help you get a good quality health insurance and hopefully help you find a way so that they can offset this debt. And this to me is it's unacceptable. I'm sorry, it's just unacceptable. And I just want to ask all of you, okay, leave aside whether you're right, left, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat, independent, whatever. You tell me, is it right for a veteran with a bad knee and a bad back because he was a paratrooper who's got sepsis, who had to be rushed to the hospital, that he has no health insurance and now is living with $60,000 debt over his head and is living hand to mouth and is one step away from being homeless, while illegal aliens come into this country and are given $30,000 to get their own apartment, to get furniture. They get free health care that we pay for, $4,000 a month in EBT, free cable, free Wi-Fi, free lawyers, free food. You think that's right? You think that's fair? Like, to all of you open border globalists, all you Healy supporters out there, what, do you hate your country that much? Do you hate your fellow citizens that much? Do you hate veterans that much? That they deserve to be treated like this? Now, very quickly, this is from my sister, and this has really got her. You think my blood pressure is high? You should see her blood pressure. This is what she texted me, Jennifer from Tucson, Arizona. Jeff, the answer that is not a choice is get them all out. In other words, they don't get free education, they don't get free health care, they don't get free housing, they get nothing free. Out, out, out. Deport every single one of them. She said, but out of the choices presented in our poll question, she said, my answer is health care. My sister believes that's the most egregious benefit that is given to illegals. And she says, according to her, it is heartbreaking to see our own citizens not being able to have health care, not qualifying for pricey medicine that is needed, or getting procedures that are life-changing. And so to her, the most, the most abusive, the most egregious, the most insulting benefit is free health insurance for illegals. To me, look, I don't like free education either, but to me, it's either housing or free health care. I mean, you know what $3,000, do you know what $30,000 is? Not to pay rent? To basically, have free housing? And by the way, they get free loans to start up a business. Not low interest. Free loans to start up a business. It just keeps coming. I'm telling you, really, just buy them a freaking car. At this point, just really buy them all, BMWs or Mercedes or get them all Ferraris. Really, at this point, what the hell? This is from Caitlin on Messenger, and she makes a very, very good point. Jeff, you are forgetting the illegals are also being handed out driver's licenses without any knowledge of driving or knowing the laws of the road. Then they receive special prices at car dealerships and banks approving special rate loans for said automobiles. Caitlin, you're 1,000% correct. So, it doesn't end. 617-266-6868. Mags in New Hampshire. Thanks for holding, Mags, and welcome.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hi, Mags.
You're putting me over the edge this morning, Jeff. You know how I feel about our veterans. Okay? The last two callers grabbed me by the heart and was ripping it right out. Okay? I cannot take listening to this. All of the above is what I say. Illegals deserve nothing except for a good kick, swift in the ass, and get them out of here. They don't belong in our country. They don't belong here, and they don't get any benefits. And Maura Healey is a criminal for what she's done to the state of Massachusetts and the people of Massachusetts. She is a criminal and needs to be punished for what she's done. She gives away everything to the illegals. She does nothing for our veterans. Our veterans are everything to this country. They are the reason why we are here and the freedoms that we have. And any moron that doesn't know that, they should go back and read some history books because they need to know it. And my vote is all the above, Jeff. They deserve nothing. All the above.
Mags, this story has really struck a chord with people here, across New England, across the country, because it's so egregious. They're spending so much money. I honestly, I got people we have a lot of listeners in California. They said, Jeff, they're literally, I can read you the text messages. Jeff, we thought our governor was insane, but even Gavin Newsom is not spending money on illegals the way Maura Healey is. Like, nobody is dishing out this kind of cash. Mags, are we now seeing potentially the end of Maura Healey? In other words, if the Republicans could somehow get their act together, has she now, even for this crazy blue state, even for the People's Republic of Massachusetts, when you're wasting taxpayer money like this, and now it's a mess, because now either you move them back to the hotels and the motels, which they don't want to do, or to the emergency shelters, which they don't want to do, or now you keep them, and now you just keep giving another 30,000 and another 30,000. Is she now vulnerable to being defeated because of this scandal?
Jeff, every time you say $30,000, I feel like I can't breathe. I just want you to know that, okay? Because this woman, if the people of Massachusetts don't smarten up, then they're going to get what they deserve. And you know I left Massachusetts 5 years ago because of all this. because of her, basically, because she has no common sense. She has no sense of what's right for her people in her state. She could care less. And it's really gross, Jeff. So all I'm hoping and praying for is that people smarten up in the state of Massachusetts, because honestly, she has hurt this state severely. And if people don't see that, then I don't even know what to say, because there isn't anything to say, because she's just stupid as a bag of rocks. She might as well have that in her head, a bag of rocks, because she doesn't give a damn. And obviously, I don't even know what to say anymore, because she just doesn't care. She doesn't care about you in Massachusetts. Trust me, she doesn't care.
Oh, you're dead on. No, Mags, you're dead on. And I got to say, this is what I find amazing. She doesn't care about us. She's running the state into the ground. Into the ground. Look, I think John Featherston earlier, I don't want to keep, repeating this, but it's so true. She's destroyed Massachusetts. She has. Now, what I don't get are the Democrats who support her. Why would you support someone who doesn't give a damn? Look, unless you're an illegal alien, okay, let's just talk crass politics. Unless you're an illegal, yes, I understand why you support her. Unless you're a crony, okay, you're on the take, you're a hack, okay, I understand why you support her. But other than that, if you're not on welfare and you're not some hack, some corrupt hack, or you're not an illegal alien, why the hell would you vote for this woman? You're crazy. Like, literally, you're nuts. Like, you don't know your own basic self-interest. And it's just amazing. And I'm telling you, the Bills in Sudbury will just keep voting. Watch. They love her. And I got to tell you this, Mags. She is now the Zoran Mamdani of Massachusetts. This idea that, they're saying, oh, Zoran Mamdani is unique to New York. No, he isn't. No, he isn't. Maura Healey is an AOC, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, Zoran Mamdani Democrat. This is communism. This is socialism. That's what you're seeing right now. Destroy the taxpayers, destroy the middle class, and literally spend money like it's water on illegal aliens. Everything for them is free. And you bankrupt the state in order to take care of your political people and your supporters. This is communism. So you look at Zoran. I ask anybody, I dare anybody, what is the difference between Zoran Mamdani and Maura Healey? Go ahead. I'm challenging the Moonbats. Pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas? Check. They're both anti-Israel, anti-Semitic? Check. Open borders and pro-sanctuary state? Check. Free stuff to illegals? Check. I could run down the whole list. The whole list. Defund the police? Check. Defund prisons? Check. Like, what do you want? Radical climate change, the Green New Deal? Check. Skyrocketing energy costs? Check. I run down the whole list. I'm like, there's no difference. Except that Mamdani, to his credit, is a little bit more public and open about what his real goals and intentions are. This one is a bit more, she's more like a snake. She's a little more shifty. But in the end, you look at her policies versus Mamdani's, there's no difference. What's the difference between her and Bernie Sanders? None. Her and AOC on policy? None. Literally none. And that's why the decline under Massachusetts has been rapid. And I don't know if we can recover. If the Republicans don't mount a real serious challenge and beat her, this state, another term of Maura Healey, who can survive? Mags, thank you very much for that call. Really, you tell me, the audience, where am I wrong? It's unpleasant. You don't want to think like this. But, we're going on about Mamdani down in New York. I'm like, we've got our own Mamdani. Tim in South Dennis. Thanks for holding, Tim, and welcome.
Morning, Jeff. And I just want to tell you, like I've always wanted to tell you, I love you in a non-sexual manner, my friend.
Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's outrageous, of course. $30,000 to each illegal. Well, we have homeless veterans on the street. You remember there was a time where they couldn't even get appointments at the VA because illegals were ahead of them on top of everything else. I mean, I wish Maura Healey would just come right out and say it. I don't give a damn about our veterans. Blank you. I guess in this case, actions speak louder than words. But in the spirit of that, because we take an oath, I did, my better half did, you know, April 26th, it's the 4th anniversary of that debacle at Abbey Gate. We're going to stand in South Dennis from 5 to 7 on Route 134 by the town hall to honor the 13 fallen, which includes a Lawrence, Mass. Resident, Marine Sergeant Johannes Rosario.
That's right. That's right.
Who was rescuing Afghan women who were being trampled by a mob when that suicide bomb went off and killed her. I'll bet her family didn't get $30,000 out of Maura Healey or Michelle Wu or any of those people. And that's just, like I said, that's just an absolute disgrace.
Tim,
you know,
I've got to ask you this, my friend. Both you and your better half, your wonderful wife, both of you are veterans. Both of you to me are patriots, are heroes. And I want to thank both of you for your service from the bottom of my heart. But I've got to ask you, you put your life and limb on the line for my freedom, for all our freedoms. If you don't mind, I want to ask you this. Did you ever get $30,000 from the government to help you offset rent or mortgage or housing costs? Tim?
Nothing. Yes,
Nothing.
Sir.
Did you ever get $4,000 a month? A month. Not a year. A month. EBT. Basically, here, Tim, here's $4,000. You want to buy yourself clothes? Go ahead. You want to use it to pay bills? Go ahead. You want to take your wife out for dinner? Go ahead. Want to buy food? Whatever it is, it's spending money. It's $4,000 cash money in a card we give to you and your wonderful wife because you served our country. Did you ever get $4,000 a month? Hell, did you ever get $4,000? Forget a month.
Never did.
Did you ever get $500 a month just to help you pay your groceries? WIC, food stamps.
Nope, never got that either.
How about free Uber rides? No?
Nope.
Okay,
No
let me
rides.
ask you this. You need a lawyer. You ever get a free lawyer?
Probably not.
No. How about this? Okay, Tim, for God's sake. Okay? What, you know, with the bullets whizzing by your head and everything, did they ever give you this? Free cable, free internet, free Wi-Fi. Did they at least give you that, Tim, for God's sake?
Oh, no, none of that. Unfortunately, though, I wasn't a combat guy, so I never had to go face enemy fire. But it's disgusting that those that did, and those that are they're home, the ones that survived multiple tours, that are missing parts of their body, or they've had traumatic brain injuries, or the ones that have PTSD. I talked to a mother once. Her son survived 3 tours in Iraq as a cavalry scout. And the PTSD got so bad, he ended up taking his own life. He became one of the 22 a day. And you can bet Maura Healey and the rest of them, Elizabeth Warren, Bill Keating, you know, they can stand out there and smile and go on Memorial Day. But, oh, we feel so, the feeling of looking at all these flags, and it's like, blank you. You don't believe a word of it. And anybody who can't see that way, you need to open your eyes, because they're all lying.
Tim, thank you again for your service. Please give my best to your wonderful wife. And Tim, please keep calling. And thank you again. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service to our country. 617-266-6868. And notice, I can't tell you how many times when I talk to a vet, encounter a vet, whatever, they will rush to tell you. If you imply or somehow, you know, you say, hey, well, you know, bullets whizzing by your head, or And they're like, no, I never served. Like, I mean, I served, but I never served in combat. They will never take any kind of, fake glory, right? They'll never say, oh, no, I served in combat. No, they'll say right away, I didn't serve in combat. And I'm like, well, you served. You didn't know if you were going to be called up or not. Fortunately you weren't, but you were, you signed up, you served knowing full well you could be sent to Afghanistan. You could be sent to Iraq. You could be sent to wherever. To me, that's the heroism. That's the self-sacrifice. I mean, sure, I really, look, those that, went and fought in battle, hey, I tip my hat off to you. But to me, it's the self-sacrifice, the instinct to say, I will put my life on the line for my country if need be. Now, that's the cream of the cream. That's the greatest virtue of all, is courage and patriotism. And instead of being rewarded, look, it's being denigrated. It's just like it doesn't matter. The biggest scandal in Massachusetts, of all the scandals, and there are so many, the biggest scandal in Massachusetts is that we have homeless veterans sleeping on the streets in cardboard boxes, literally several hundred feet away from across the street from where the mayor's office is in Boston. Several hundred feet away. They are sleeping on the streets. And nobody in political power gives a damn. But if you came into this country illegally, what's sleeping on the streets? They put you up in hotels, in motels, catered meals. Then if they move you out of the hotel, $30,000, go ahead, knock yourself out. And you want a 3-bedroom apartment? You got it. Hard floors? You got it. 2 bathrooms? You got it. You want a $4,000 monthly EBT? You got it. You want free healthcare? You got it. Everything. Free. And that poor guy is sleeping on the streets, or that poor woman is sleeping on the streets. But I'm the extremist. I swear to you. I swear to God. We got to get Kuhner off the air. Got to drive him out of Massachusetts. He doesn't represent our values. It's you can't, I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. 617-266-6868 is the number. Okay, now here it is. The Massachusetts Democratic Party goes full communist. And you've known about it. I've known about it. We've suspected it. But now it is all out in the open. Chief Full of Bull, Liawatha Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren. You want to talk about an absolute nitwit? Here it is. She endorsed over the weekend Zohran Mamdani, the Muslim communist who, and by the way, a Jew hater to boot, a Marxist anti-Semite, to be the next mayor of New York. But not only did she endorse him, not only did she do an event with him, but she now has said that the future of the Democratic Party lies with Alexandria Fidel Castro Cortez, with Mamdani, with Bernie Sanders, and with the radical left. Listen now to her on, this is after she made a big endorsement of Mamdani. And by the way, she endorsed everything. His defense of Hamas, his hatred for Israel, his call to abolish private property, his call for government-run grocery stores, his call to defund the police and abolish prisons. I could go on. Oh, by the way, he wants to pay for free sex change operations for everybody who will come to New York City. Literally. If you come to New York City, you can look it up now. It's one of his key platforms. He's not just pro-transgenderism. He is radically pro-transgenderism. that if you want to change from a male to a female, or a male to a female, or a female to a male, and you want to mutilate certain body parts, this will be paid for at taxpayer expense. He also wants to dramatically increase taxes on what he said are white, working class, white, middle class neighborhoods. In other words, he wants to systematically discriminate against white people. And he vows that he will drive billionaires and the so-called rich out of New York City. He is calling now for a Mamdani-style socialist revolution. She now backs him all the way. Listen now to Elizabeth Warren. She was on with a host on CNBC, who, by the way, is a liberal. He's a liberal. But he's saying, this is full-throated communism. Listen now to the exchange. Roll cut 18, Mike.
The issue is affordability. Do you know how many working families are chased out of New York City every day because they can't afford housing, they can't afford groceries, they can't afford child care? What Zoran is saying is, I want people to be able to afford to live in New York City. That's what keeps it a vibrant city. That's what makes people want to live
Nobody
here.
disagrees with that, Senator, but raising taxes in order to do it?
Oh,
why is that
goodness.
the answer?
Oh, dear. Are you worried that billionaires are going to go hungry?
No, I'm worried that they're going to leave and spend their money elsewhere.
You know, they've threatened to do that over and over and over.
And they have. They've left.
But here's the thing.
And Goldman Sachs, when they create new jobs, they do it in Dallas. And Blackstone won't build a new headquarters. And go on and on.
You want to have a workable city. You want to have a city that's vibrant. You want to have a city where the streets are full, where there are things for sale 24 hours a day. Then you need people who can live here and work here.
Well, we've got that right now, by the way. I would point out New York is thriving. So now it's doing pretty well, actually.
Now, he means pretty well in the sense that businesses are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can buy stuff on the streets. The problem is the cost of living is way too high. And Mamdani's solution is he wants public housing for everybody. He wants free childcare, free as in taxpayer funded. He wants free daycare, i.e. taxpayer funded. He wants people to ride buses for free on the subway for free so-called public transportation. Now, I'm telling you, this will literally, you can't raise taxes enough. You're going to have to raise taxes 70, 80, you're going to have to put an effective 70, 80, 90% tax rate. What do you think that's going to do? Goldman Sachs is gone. Blackstone is gone. Wall Street is gone. They're already leaving. So what you will see under Mamdani is what happens whenever socialism comes into power. It's going to be the equal distribution of misery. Everywhere it's tried, it has been an absolute disaster. Listen now to her saying, I don't care whether he embraces communist ideas. This is now the new Democratic Party. This is now the new Democratic message. Roll cut 19, Mike.
When someone stands up and says, I will lead this city by making it more affordable, and here are my plans, real plans to deliver on childcare, plans to deliver on housing, plans to deliver, we're going to experiment, we're going to try things on groceries. That is the Democratic message.
She's now openly endorsing government-run, government-controlled grocery stores. Now, everywhere that's been tried, everywhere, it has led to bread lines and food shortages. In fact, they even tried it in Kansas City and Missouri. You should look it up. They tried. It was a local experiment. There's no food left in the grocery store. There's literally nothing inside. I'm not talking about the Soviet Union or Cuba or Venezuela or everywhere else this has been tried. Even here in the United States, it has led to food shortages and bread lines. And this is now what the chief is fully embracing. Okay, Chief Fullable. So, she's gone full Marxist. She always was one, but now she's out in the open. Healy has gone full Marxist. She's now out in the open. Michelle Wu has gone full Marxist. She's now out in the open. This is from William on Messenger. And please, all of you who are listening, no truer words have ever been spoken. This is what William said about this Mamdani's plan for government-run grocery stores. Warren now fully embracing that idea. She's now gone full commie. Full commie. So it's not just Chief Fullable, it's Chief Commie now. Jeff, remember this. There will always be food and groceries available for the politicians. It's we the people. We're the ones that will be standing in food lines, but never them. Bingo. Wherever this is tried, not only has it been a disaster, but William is completely right. In the old Soviet Union, communist apparatchiks, they had plenty of food for them. Right now in Venezuela, there's huge food lines. Not for Maduro. Every time I see him, he gets fatter and fatter. The guy keeps putting on more weight. The strong man of Venezuela. The guy's like a blimp. He's going to blow up. And his cadres around him, plenty of food in Fidel Castro's Cuba. For the leadership, for the communist leadership, there's nothing but food. For the peasants, not so much. So remember, Mamdani lives in a $3 million swanky condo. He just, a couple of weeks ago, he went back to Uganda, the country he was born in. Now, who the hell has a 3-day wedding? 3 days. They partied for 3 days and 3 nights. It was a 3-day wedding. And apparently it cost, it was obscene. And by the way, no police for us, but he had a ton of security at his wedding. And by the way, he has a ton of security at his $3 million swanky condo in downtown New York. So I'm telling you, he ate like a pig for 3 days and 3 nights for his wedding. Okay? So that wedding, that was a 72-hour affair. So don't worry, he's going to eat well. And he's going to have all the security in the world. We're the ones without police. We're the ones without food. We're the ones that are going to have to scrounge for ourselves. So what you're now watching in front of our eyes is the complete radicalization and transformation of the Democratic Party into a full Marxist communist party. With the blessing now of the top leadership of the Democratic Party. You want to know why Maura Healey's shelling out $30,000 for illegal aliens to pay for rent? Because that's communism. And that's where the Democrats are now heading. So enjoy it. 617-266-6868. Enjoy it while it lasts. Because it never works. And you know who ends up paying for it? Are you and me. And on the South Shore, thanks for holding, Ann, and welcome.
Good morning to you and Kuhner Nation. I am so angry. It isn't funny. You have hit on so many issues that we, the people, experience every day of our lives. My husband, being a disabled veteran, fighting for his benefits and being denied is something we've been fighting for. So when it comes to my veterans, I hold a very special part in my heart for each and every single one of them. And the other thing, Jeff, that I don't understand, Holman said he was coming. He was going to come and get him. You know what? I'm tired of hearing the rapists, the murderers. Well, you know, they're all illegal in this country. And I am suffocating, trying to live a life. I've worked since I was 14 years old. And it is just coming to the part I can't take it anymore. And when the country was first born, they were told that the people in government would never have anything more than what the people had. What has happened? Where's our Constitution? Where's Tom Holman? Why are people not being arrested for treason? It just keeps going and going and going. And I, as a citizen of this country, am sick of it. They should go in and they should arrest the governor and the mayor of the state of Massachusetts. They are stealing our money. I don't know what else to do, Jeff.
And drop the mic. No, listen, Trump's people listen to this show. That's why I give people all the time they need to get to express their views. I want them to hear what his supporters are thinking and what they're saying. And, it's Tom Homan, it's Pam Bondi. Look, to give welfare benefits to illegals is illegal. It's a crime. I just find this incredible. The Boston Globe story, please check it out. Don't take my word for it. Better yet, read the story in the Daily Mail. Okay, it's free. You can just go to dailymail.com and there it is. And the woman openly admits, this Nadine woman, and many of them, but they profile her. She says, no, I'm here illegally. She even says, I'm not going to give you my last name because I'm going to get deported. So you have Maura Healey openly giving taxpayer money, $30,000. They don't talk about everything else. The free, the $4,000 EBT, the food stamps, the free cable, the free lawyer, the free health care, the free. There's the $30,000 housing subsidy. Okay. Taxpayer funded. That's illegal. That's illegal. It's technically illegal to house just to have them live in your house. Never mind taking taxpayer money and giving them $30,000 and saying, go, buy all the furniture you want. Pick whatever. You want a 3-bedroom in Dorchester? Go ahead. You want wood floors? Knock yourself out. It's illegal. What the governor is doing is blatantly violating the law, as is the mayor of Boston. The thing is, the Hochul does it in New York. Adams does it in New York City. Pritzker does it in Illinois. Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, does the same thing. Gavin Newsom, that guy, okay, Mr. Slick Socialist, he does it in California. The mayor of LA does it. So the problem is, I'm sure Pam Bondi says, well, if I arrest Healy, I got to arrest Hochul. And if I arrest Hochul, I got to arrest Pritzker. And if I arrest Pritzker, I got to arrest Newsom. And she's like, what are we going to do? Lock up half the governors? I'm sure that's what their conversations they're having. And my answer is start with one. Just start with one. Can you just do one? So, look, Ann, either we're a nation of laws or we're not. Now, I'm sorry. You don't even treat your citizens like this. So, but ultimately, look, Ann, I can blame everybody in the world. Ultimately, it's the fault of the residents and voters of Massachusetts. I can't, I can only help you help yourself. I'm not talking to you, Ann. I'm talking in generalities. If you keep voting for these Democrat scumbags who want to give our money to all of these third world illegal alien freeloaders, then I'm sorry, you have no one to blame but yourself. And I think, Ann, the sad story is that many people are just leaving Massachusetts like they're leaving New York. They see the writing on the wall. They see the communist revolution coming. And they're like, I'm out. I'm going to go to a red state. And these idiot moonbats go, yeah. And they realize who's going to pay your taxes. You're going to have no money. You're going to go broke. You're going to become a third world hellhole. That's all you're doing. You're going to become like California. Everybody's fleeing. People are now fleeing Massachusetts. And honestly, one more term of Maura Healey, and I think it's over. I mean, I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I don't know how you can recover from this. 617-266-6868 is the number. CJ in Foxborough. Thanks for holding, CJ, and welcome.
Thanks, Jeff.
Hi, CJ.
This is the original CJ for all you folks out there wondering where I've been. Anyways, I can change on a dime, Jeff. I was going to talk about the fact I'm a disabled veteran, and a lifetime member of DAV, but I can switch on a dime. 30 years ago this past June, I graduated from UMass Boston. While I was a mailman, I ended up being a mailman for my final civil service printout said 42 years, 6 months. Anyways,
the average age of the person at the college, it was the College of Public and Community Service. I went to myself, that sounds familiar nowadays. It sounds familiar. Well, one of our books was Rules for Radicals by Saul Alinsky. That would be Obama's buddy and Hildeby's buddy. And you know who he dedicated his book to?
Satan, Lucifer.
Yeah, the devil.
Yeah, Lucifer, the devil.
Dedicated that.
People
book
thought I was exaggerating. I'm like, no, really, look at the book. The book is literally
Lucifer.
dedicated
to Lucifer.
That's right. And CJ,
anyway,
what does he say? Why does he dedicate it to the devil?
I don't know why, but
no. He says the first community organizer. He says the first community organizer was Satan, was the devil.
If a person at CPCS, College of Public Community Service, was late 30s, early 40s, so they thought they were going to get some baby boomers that were suckers, I guess. But anyways, me and my buddy looked at each other. I wrote this on Truth Social too. So we looked at each other and said, "This stuff is communist/socialist." And we looked at each other and we're laughing, and we said, "All right, let's just go along with it and get our degrees," which we did. But I wrote on Truth Social, I'm embarrassed to say that I'm a graduate of that college. But, 2/3 of the courses were very useful to me. But the other third, one of the teachers was a woman who wrote an article that I was delivering the mail one day for The Nation. Does that tell you something?
Wow.
She wrote an article in The Nation, which is this.
The Nation magazine, which is essentially a communist magazine.
Exactly. I'm not going to tell her name. Her first name was Janice, and her last name was the last name of some of the Three Stooges. But anyways, figure it out. But anyways, Jeff, I could turn on a dime. I was going to talk about veteran stuff, but this stuff about Hiawatha was too much. I had to call in.
Well, look, CJ, and thank you for your service. God bless you. Look, do you remember even 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, Bernie Sanders was considered an outlier, right, on the fringe of the Democratic Party. He's an independent, but he caucuses with the Democrats. But, Bolshevik Bernie, honeymooned in the Soviet Union, a self-avowed socialist/communist. Now he's the heart and soul of the party. And Elizabeth Warren has now come out and said, forget Mamdani. Yeah, I back Mamdani all the way. But she said the Democrats going forward are now the party of AOC, Mamdani, and Bernie Sanders. In other words, we're a communist party. That's what we are. Live with it. Now, I'm telling you, they're committing political suicide right in front of our eyes. Yeah, this may play well in Boston. It may play well in New York City. It may play well in Chicago. But in the heartland, I mean, this is politically toxic. So you keep running Kamala Harris. You keep running these far, far, far left anti-American socialists. You're going to lose every freaking election. So it's their funeral. Hey, you want to go woke? Go woke. You want to go commie? Go commie. But don't come crying to me when you're reduced to political nothingness. And that's what's going to happen. Priscilla in Florida. Priscilla, I hate to do this to you. I've got 1 full minute left. The floor is yours. Go.
I just want to tell you, I moved to Florida because of what I saw in this state. One visit to the emergency room will tell you it's third world. And also, there are two factions of our society being completely forgotten about. It's our veterans and our seniors. I take care of a person who has Alzheimer's. To put him into a safe place is $10,000 to $12,000 a month. So I'm telling you, people better wake up because that's what's going on. Our medical is in a complete shambles, and I agree. A, B, and C, they need to go.
Priscilla, are you shocked that Healy is giving out this much money to the illegals? You couldn't let her answer yes or no, Mike? I mean, jeez, Mike, I got it. Sometimes I think you're in the wrong party, Mike. I'm just saying. You know, I'm just saying, sometimes I think maybe you're a bit of a closet commie there, Mike. You love the power, my friend. Oh, do you love it?